Hey, I'm Bradley Sowash, back with another improv tip of the month. This one is celebrating the music associated with Dr. John, the great New Orleans pianist who combined all kinds of elements to a real gumbo or jambalaya, if you will. Rock and roll, boogie woogie, gospel, early jazz, and there's Latin tinges in there, as he really was a hodgepodge of musical styles. Dr. John didn't invent any of these, but he sort of pulled them together, and they go clear back to Jelly Roll Morton, and even little tinges of it can be found in Scott Joplin. So let's just listen to a little bit of it first to see what we're working on here. Well, I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the river's gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside and study. Want no more, gonna study, or no more. Gonna study, one no more, I'm gonna study, or no more. I'm gonna study war no more. Down by the riverside. It's based on a Rhumba rhythm, and the Rhumba rhythm is derived from an older rhythm called the clave rhythm, and it goes way back in the African diaspora, which spread off into Latin countries as well. And a lot of us know that clave are these instruments right here, just two sticks often made of rosewood. These are a little bit louder ones. And the associated rhythm is also called the clave rhythm. You probably know this. It sounds like this. Okay, so let's just look at that rhythm for a minute and break that down. It has, if we think about eighth notes, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, beats, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, rest, 2, 3. So you can kind of see a visual representation of that rhythm. That's a good way to think about rhythms, because the notation of this particular rhythm is not very friendly to the eye, because it looks different between beats. The first sound and the second sound, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 are actually the same length, but it doesn't notate that way. So you also may think of this rhythm as the ham bone rhythm, or sometimes called the bo diddley rhythm. It goes way back to West African drummers, and the rhythm that we have associated with that is shave and a haircut, 2 bits. So if you just take some of those words out, shave, hair, cut, 2 bits, something like that, we get a sound associated with a ham bone, or it's often called the ham bone rhythm, because as this clave rhythm came to America, it got changed around and everything. And I'm going to use, to demonstrate this ham bone rhythm, the same thing. I'm going to use something called a rhythm bones here, what would originally been played on actual bones. And so you probably have heard this sound as well. It comes from vaudeville music and minstrel music, where there's always would be a bone player to keep the rhythm for everything that was going on. And so it's like da, 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 da. So you can hear that ham bone, ham bone, ham bone, ham bone. So let's practice that on the piano a little bit. If you're at a piano right now, what you can do is just play some quarter notes in your left hand. I'm going to use the note G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, just playing quarter notes. In my right hand, I'm going to play that rhythm. It goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Let's do it slower. If you're having trouble with that, one way to sort of get your head around it, especially when you have the rhythm in your left hand, is to play all eighth notes in your right. So I'm going to take a G chord, G, B, D, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Those notes are G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B. Now underneath that, we are going to just play the G chord, G, B, D, G, B, D, and it's going to line up with that 3, 3, 2 feel. I'll do it slow. So we have sets of 3, a 3, and a 2, and then those are kind of brought out in the bass. Okay, I hope you got that, and you can practice that later if you want. And then you do this on any chord you like, and the right hand can be in any inversion you like, but the left hand needs to be in root position. So if we go to a C chord, I will play C, E, G, C, and 3, 4, and the right hand then can play a convenient inversion of the C chord. I'm going to use the one nearest the root position G, so the notes from the bottom up are G, C, E. Sounds like this. And we may as well play a D chord, because that's in the key. So we'll play F sharp A, D in the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And the left hand will play the root position, D, F sharp A. So it sounds like this. So you can put together a little chord progression with that. So 1, G. Let's go to C. Let's go to D. And back to G. Now, already you have a pretty cool rhythm. And by the way, if you're having trouble with this and you want to see it written, my That's Jazz series, the Core Method Book 1 called Getting Into It, has a tune called Burrito Cha-Cha, which breaks this down, this important rhythm that is really pervasive through all Latin music and just a huge thing. The clave rhythm is I can't say enough about how much it's a key part of popular musical styles. One way that you can just put this to work right away at an intermediate level is to go ahead and put a melody over the top of it. And I'm going to use the melody to Down by the Riverside. And so under that sort of straight melody, we're going to play that rumba rhythm, that rumba bass line. 1, 2. Here's the D chord. So that sounds pretty cool, and it's easier as you sort of play this rhythm. It's important to not stare at the music when you do it. You can just let the rhythm pervade your rhythmic soul. So another little trick is to play some right hand harmony. So instead of just playing the melody, I might play a whole G chord. Still that D, G, B chord. I call this hang chords. So we're going to put some hang chords or some harmony in the right hand and keep that rumba rhythm going in the left. Here's a D chord coming. Here's the D. Back to G. So you can hear it's a very American sound. It's a very mixed melting pot of influences there, which is what we are here in the United States, a bunch of mutts from all over the place. Now, to make this a little bit more fun, I'll just show you some variations. Thank you for those hearts of appreciation. One cool variation is instead of playing G, B, D, G, B, D, we're going to play a little flat third in there, and that would be a B flat on a G chord. So we're going to just squeeze that in, and so it sounds a little like this. The notes are G, B flat, B natural, D. So practice that for a minute. And you want to be able to do that on a C chord as well. C, E flat, E natural, G. And on a D chord, D, F natural, S sharp A. It's the rhythm. Oops. So that's pretty neat. That gives it a little bit more going on. And then you can even put your a little tag on there. I guess I'll just play it. G, B flat, B, D, E, D. So it sounds something like this. There's one other little variation on that. I guess I'll show you. You put a little thumb octaves. I'll show it first. G, high G, and then B flat, B, D, E, D. This is a good time to tell you that in my real online jazz piano classes, I use an overhead camera on my hands and also a virtual piano that shows exactly what notes I'm playing. On the Facebook live stream, I keep this kind of casual and less techy. And so we can just put those all together, hanging some chords or just playing the melody, and it sounds something like this. And I want to tell you that these rhythms are very loose. You don't have to stick to it. Everything, the pattern is just the same each time. It's actually good if it's loose and kind of morphs around from one of those patterns to another, and they freely mix. There's another bass that is common and can be freely mixed with those, and that's sometimes called the second line bass. Now, if you're not familiar with the second line, if you visit a funeral or a march, or maybe even, I'm not sure about a Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans, there's the official parade with the bands playing who are actually sanctioned and have gone through the parade marshal and have a reason to be there. But it's also a tradition to be in the back of the parade with fancy umbrellas and maybe purple suits and big hats and kind of over-the-top fun clothes and kind of dance around and do your own impromptu doodah type parade in the background after the official parade. And that rhythm, the way that people would dance to that, or the way that a tuba would play with that, is sometimes called the second line rhythm. And anyway, it's associated with that tradition of following a parade. And so I'm going to show you just a little trick with that. Let's get the bass line first. We're just going to play roots and fifths. So here's a G chord going to a C chord. So root and fifth would be G, D, just like that. Now it seems simple, but hang on. G, D, and in a minute we're going to play C, G. So G, D, G, D, and C, G, G. Now to make that more interesting, we'll connect those roots. So like G, D, I'm going to walk down G, F sharp, E, D, C. I didn't know I could sing a low C. So we're going to find little connectors between those chords. Can you hear that? Let's just stay on the G. The notes are G, D, G, F sharp, E, D, like that. Now what are a big important style that you're finding up till a tune that's being written right now? It's all over Elton John. It goes before him into the 60s, early, twist and shout type of rock and roll, and goes way back. It's a gospel thing. Is that when you have a chord, you can go up a fourth and back. So if I have a G chord, this is the right hand now, even though it doesn't say to in the lead sheet or the chart, I can slip up to a C chord, G, B, D, to G, C, E, and then back to G, B, D. So it would sound like this. Now we're going to do that with that clave rhythm. So remember that was ba, da, 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 da. So you can put some other notes in there. You can go play two C's and before you come back, or you can go two G's before you go up. It doesn't matter. You just have a way to move up a fourth. You can do that on a C chord as well. So we'll take a root position C and go to the F, 1/4 up. Or we could play any inversion you'd like. So let's try a first inversion C chord. All right, now we put those together. I'm just going to do it on a G chord for a minute. And this is just a prep. So I'm going to go. Oops. So you get the idea. Now we're still just doing prep here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to break those chords down so they roll a little bit. I'm just rocking my hand, B and D to G. Notice the rhythm of the clave is still there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ba, 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 ba. I'll do it on my bass drum here. So hopefully you can hear that coming through here. I make it louder with this other foot. Okay, now let's put those together. Well, not just. I understand it's going to take a bit. Let me go ahead and get a backbeat going here. 1, 2, 3, M. I wanted to show you one other thing with that. We're going to decorate that bass line a little bit by adding an anticipation. Now we're really sounding like a tuba, right? So let's put that together with the right hand, and then we'll get a nice little accompaniment here that we could use to sing over, or we could play it in the pauses of the melody, or we could play it as an introduction, because we really don't have enough fingers to play the melody and all that stuff. That'd be a worthy goal. Okay, so let's have a listen to this with the anticipations. Remember that bass line? C. Now, I'm doing one other thing in there, which is I'm squeezing in that flat third. So instead of playing a G chord to a C, I'm slipping a little bit of a B flat in there along the way. Sounds something like, that was it. Here's that little special note, that B flat. And you just kind of squeeze it in there in a sloppy way. We want no kind of precision, but we want a steady beat. We want that slidey sound. In fact, I'm going to use the same finger. The finger 3, B flat to B, is on the same finger. And maybe the pinky rides along on the top of the G chord on a D, or maybe it doesn't. Both fingers, one finger, it doesn't matter. So with that second line bass, it's just a really nice sound. The trick is to get your eyes off the page and let your hands find their way, feeling the groove, knowing the chords, and dipping into the groove. That's the whole art of this, is understanding the underpinnings, but not overthinking them and not getting too precious about it all. So I'll just show you this cool little lick here based on this. That little thing, there's a little trick you can do that's a very New Orleans sound. So I'm going to play, I'll show it first. Let's listen to that in context. So what you're going to do is play a G chord to a C, and I'm going to scrape that B flat on the way. So I have, isn't that cool? So I'm just playing B and D to C and E. So get that? And the rhythm is 1. So it's after the beat, 1. Okay? Then the next part of the rhythm is you're going to do a little turn, I guess, on the G chord. The notes are B, D, B, G. B, D, B, G. So far we have this. Now, all those B's, scrape your B flat. Got it? Now, the last two notes, you can just pick your hand up and play E, D. The whole lick sounds like this with a steady quarter note. It's hard to play it cleanly. So that sounds like a kind of a classical approach where I'm just really trying to get it pure and perfect, like a Chopin figure. It's just too squeaky clean. It needs to sound like this. All right, so I'm going to take this out. If you have any last questions, let me look. Get you out of the way. I promise 30 minutes. I'll just do it out with a little bit more tunes here. You help those of us who can play it, but are not sure how to share it with students. Love the way you play and the way you teach. Keep it coming. Thank you, Dee. Yeah. Breaking it down is what I do. I performed for 30 years as a full-time performer, and I now am a full-time teacher who performs just once in a while, and I love it. I'm all in. This is not something I do on the side to support my performance habit. It's I love breaking this stuff down, and I appreciate that comment, particularly because I think I put maybe 3 or 4 hours into getting these notated examples ready that I'm going to make available in my course, trying to break down onto the page what it is that actually gets played. It is tricky to notate this stuff, so I appreciate that the breakdown is noticed. All right, so I'm just going to wrap it up here. If you want to take off, you can, but I'm going to play a little bit more for my own fun. So I'll start with a little bit of a intro. Gonna study one no more. Ain't gonna study one. Study one no more. I ain't gonna study one no more. Down by the riverside. It's so much fun. Thanks for being with me, and I love it that you spent some time with me. Until next time, enjoy your creative music making journey and go out and make some great music out there. Bye for now.